Hello people, this is Lincoln of Little Game Studios speaking. I have made many games over my time, so I decided from this point on I'd use this YouTube channel I made to talk about games I've made. So I'd like to welcome the first game in the Little Game Studios' newfound life, Bloons Clicker. Bloons Clicker is a game where, as you have probably guessed, you click balloons. It was inspired by the Bloons franchise by Ninja Kiwi. As we see opening the game, there's balloons spawning in the center, but these balloons are just red balloons. And only one of them is on screen at a time. The three variables down here are your cash, balloon spawn cooldown, and how many balloons are currently on screen. Up here on the top left, you will see these three upgrades, as well as two buttons for red and blue balloons. On the top right, we see two other upgrades. What does any of this mean? Well, in Bloons Clicker, balloons will spawn in the center only when balloon spawns at a time, and the spawn depends on your currently selected balloon, and balloons only spawn if there's no balloons on the screen, but we'll get to that later. Every 2 seconds, well, for now, 2 seconds, if you click this red balloon we see, it'll pop, giving us 1 cash, as you can see. We keep popping these red balloons until we have enough money to get something. This button up here that's labeled blue balloon, we see it's the blue balloon, but we can't select it. Hovering over the button though, we see a description on the cost of this blue balloon. Say blue balloon 5 times fast. We see that with $10, we can unlock the blue balloon and select the blue balloon. After selecting the blue balloon, we can see that the blue balloons are spawning instead of reds. But what about all the other upgrades? Well, these on the right are balloon upgrades. Balloon upgrades can be bought an infinite amount of times, having stacking effects. The first balloon upgrade is Bloons Cooldown, and it reduces how long it takes for our balloons to respawn. The second balloon upgrade is Bloons Cash, which makes all balloons drop more cash upon being popped, which drastically escalates how much cash that we can get from our balloons. These two upgrades will increase in cost every time you buy them. Their costs increase, spiking up higher and higher, or the higher the level they are. The ones on the left are monkey upgrades. Each monkey upgrade can be bought a limited amount of times, each monkey upgrade having multiple tiers. There are currently 3 monkey upgrades: darts, flame, and spike. Monkey upgrades are meant to make balloon popping faster, so it takes less time to squeeze all the cash out of every respawning of the balloons. Darts, as you likely guessed, give us and improves our darts. Darts fly in straight lines, at least until you get the Tier 3 darts upgrade, and can hit a single balloon dealing 1 damage. Flame gives you a small flame that appears every few clicks and is able to burn the balloons. The flame gets more powerful in the T2 and T3 upgrades, though unlike darts and the spike upgrades, which both have 4 tiers each, the flame upgrade currently only has 3 tiers. Spike doesn't give you a spike, rather it gives you a spiked ball. These spiked balls bounce around everywhere, dealing massive damage, leading to the base cost of the upgrade being a whopping $70. The T3 and T4 upgrades of this are, as you could probably guess if you have ever played BTD5 or BTD6, Juggernaut and Ultra Juggernaut. I'm sorry, Juggernaut and Ultra Juggernaut are just too perfect of upgrades, I had to copy them. And then, after so many unlocks of balloons, getting so many balloon upgrades and monkey upgrades, in fact, you'll likely have all 3 monkey upgrades maxed out by the time you can get this, and it's the Moab. Moab class balloons and Bloons Clicker act a little different to the regular balloons. Moab class balloons and Bloons Clicker move around, making them, well, actually, I was about to say harder to hit, but considering how slowly they move with how massive they are, it doesn't make them much harder to hit at all. I guess the movement just serves better as an aesthetic variation. It's kind of boring to look at static balloons all the time, so I gave Moab class balloons the ability to move to shake things up at least a little. So back to the Moab instead of Moab class balloons in general. When the Moab is popped, will drop 4 balloons at once in a horizontal line. The balloons it drops depends on whatever balloon you currently have selected. You have ceramic balloons? Great! The Moab will drop 4 ceramic balloons down for you to pop, just like how it does in all BTD games, BTD3 and beyond. If you had, I don't know, purple balloon selected, weird choice, but the Moab when popped will still release 4 purple balloons from within. Moab class balloons drop much more cash upon being popped, but are much less affected by the Bloons Cash upgrade. The regular Moab is affected 8 times less by his Bloons Cash upgrade. Meanwhile, the BFB is affected a whopping 10 times. Wait, BFB? What's and the next Moab class balloon in line is the BFB. and is also the last balloon type in the game you can buy as of version in 1.0. The BFB, whereas the mob had 9 HP, the BFB has an entire 28 hit points. The entire BFB, when popped, as you could probably get, this releases 4 Moabs. Also, just as a meme and to allow players to buy Moabs before even getting ceramics, I decided the base Moab can be bought without requiring any specific other balloons to be unlocked. You can literally have the base red balloon, and as long as you've gotten $6,000 the cost of the mod, you can buy it. Though, to make sure players actually have to do something before getting the BFB, other than breaking their fingers and wasting their time clicking a red balloon 30,000 times over the span of 6,000 seconds, which is equal to around 16 hours by the way, the BFB requires both the Moab and the zebra balloon to have been bought. Now let's stop talking about the present and instead talk about the past. Spoiler warnings! The T3 darts monkey upgrade homing darts originally made darts home in towards your cursor instead of the balloons because I thought it would be easier and better. My friend told me the errors of my ways, and hence I have instead decided to take on the truly hellishly difficult task of making the darts home in on the balloons instead. The original version of the homing darts used 2 costumes, one of these costumes containing a huge box that takes up the left half of the screen and the other being the same but the right half instead. Then it would run a custom block that swapped to the left half. Checked if it was touching the mouse pointer, or turn to the left if it was, and do the same again, except swap left with right. In this new version, it'll now instead have 2 kind of large, but not screen-consuming boxes as costumes, one to the left and one to the right, and then pretty much do the same, except check for touching balloons instead of the mouse pointer. The Ultra Juggernaut upgrade, being the T4 Spike Monkey upgrade, has gone through multiple times of me trying to balance the amount of Juggernaut balls it fires out upon and being used up. Originally, I made it to fire at 6 to stay accurate and respectful of its BC6 counterpart. But then I tested it on a BFB. And yeah, no, this is way too powerful. It shreds it in seconds. So I then made it fire out 3 Juggernaut balls instead then 2 out of fear, retested it, figured out now it sucked way too much, and bumped it back up to 3. 3 seems to be the sweet spot for now. It still cuts through balloons like butter, but at least it's not insta-screen clearing in levels of effectiveness now. I also added additional balancing to the spiked balls by making it so that balloons have 0.4 second invincibility time from spiked balls when being hit by one, instead of an 0.3 second invincibility time, which is the normal invincibility time for other attacks. Also about invincibility times, balloons don't just become invincible to all attacks for a certain amount of time after being hit by an attack. Bloons will now become invincible to that specific attack for a certain amount of time after being hit by one. And now that we've covered the past and present, let's move on to the future! And what you can expect coming out of Little Game Studios. Ooh, wow. Bloons Clicker version 1.1 will feature the addition of balloon properties. Balloon properties can be enabled and disabled, and have a special effect on balloons. The first 2 balloon properties are going to be camo and regrow. The camo balloon property will make balloons drop up 20% more cash but become invincible to attacks that can't hit camo. The version 1.1 update will also add a new monkey upgrade, Shuriken, in order to counter the camo property, as no attacks can currently hit them. The regrow property will make balloons able to grow back into upper layers, but to prevent you from just infinitely replicating them, balloons can only regenerate 1 layer higher. Additionally, each time that a balloon regrows a layer, the slower that the next regrow will come. And if the balloon has regrown 5 layers by now, its regrow will be disabled. Version 1.2 will be the introduction of fortified balloons and the ZOMG, in addition to a new balloon upgrade, Moab Cash, which makes Moab class balloons drop more cash. This is Lincoln, Little Game Studios, and Bloons Clicker, signing off.